So welcome to Challenge the Road. We're here at Brands Hatch. We have the V12 Vantage, we have the V8 Vantage as well. We have Jake Hill here, Alex from Garage 28. What the plan is, this is running a KW3. The V8 is running an in-track suspension. And what the plan is to get some track day settings for people. And also I want to go out and get some more testing for the road and see where they sit with the dampers. It's just easier to be on the track than obviously do this on the road. So that's my plan. I'm really excited for Jake just to see what he thinks of the car, especially the V8, which I feel is a bit more racy. I think the V12, when I drove it today up here, I thought what a fantastic road car. So I'm not sure how that's going to go out there on the track, but yeah, we're really looking forward to it. Right, Alex, what are you up to? Tell us.
Right, so at the moment we're just getting the car prepped and ready for today. Giving the pressures a quick check.
So tyre pressure is the most important thing for now.
And making sure that your wheels are torqued up to correct spec.
Oh, so yeah, that's what you're doing here.
Yeah,
so
just stripping off the centre caps to get to the wheel nuts.
Is that because it moves?
Yeah. And
okay, yeah.
The heat cycles that they go through, the hot, the cold, the hot, the cold, the hot, the cold. You want
right,
to make sure
okay. You got it right.
Issues.
Okay. So Jake, what would you do on here? You lowering the pressure?
Yeah, just leaving them out ready. Obviously your cold pressure is going to be significantly lower than your actually operating temperature,
right.
Just because you have to allow for the temperature increase in the tyre. The harder you work them, the hotter they're going to get.
So what pressure would you go down from a normal road setting?
Well, it depends. Obviously every car is different, but I mean typically you drop about 5 or 6 psi out.
Okay, as much as that. Okay.
But I mean, this Brands is obviously quite unique because it's pretty much a fully right-handed circuit, with the exception of Graham Hill and Surtees, but they're not really long-loaded corners.
Yeah.
Unlike Paddock and Clearways, we actually run probably nearly a psi lower cold on the left-hand side of the car than you do on the right. So it's you run staggered pressures, and that's not uncommon. We do that with the race car all the time. Your pressures are adjusted to every corner of the car. But just for a baseline, obviously, ultimately, these are all road cars today. So even for Alex's, which is more of a track Skyline, but still, the pressure principle applies.
It was interesting your point when we go over to the Aston about obviously it's heavier in the front. This is all-wheel drive Skyline. What's the weight balance on a Skyline?
Weight is about 60-40 split with a Skyline, because we do have a big diff in the rear.
Yeah.
The gearbox is quite long, therefore the weight comes quite a lot into the middle of the car. So it is for sure still front heavy. That RB26 engine is quite a heavy unit, just the same as the V12 is. So you would typically run front pressures up a little bit more to support the weight.
Okay, so you'd have more pressure on the front. Okay.
Yeah.
And we were talking about Porsches. If we come over to the Aston, when you got the Porsche, you got the engine in the back, so you tend to have more pressure in the rear because of the engine. But I didn't think about that idea of running more pressure in the front because of the V12.
Yeah, exactly. So, and like I say, with the Porsche stuff, from my experience of GT3 RSs, GT3s, we always run about, or I personally like 32 in the rear, 30 at the front. That seems to be a good split for a Porsche. Okay. So today I'm going to try reversing that for the Vantage, so we'll try 32 at the front, 30 at the rear. Obviously we're on a Michelin PS4 road tyre. So for sure, they're not a track day tyre, but they're a really good road tyre that you can do a bit of track stuff with. So we're going to try that. It's for me to get my eye in and just see what pressures this car likes, but yeah, I'm happy.
And that's the idea today, is just to get an idea that if someone had a CTR Vantage, they've got preset stuff that you've done for the car,
This is it. It's about learning that database, both on the damping side, the pressure side, so that, if anyone wanted to do a track day, you've got a good idea of where you want to be.
No, that's great. Thanks.
No worries.
Right, let's have a look at the V8. Now, this has got an in-track suspension. We have got to adjust it here because at the moment it's on a softer road setting. You see we've made this hole here so we can get into there. So what we do is we're wind it up, put it into a track day setting and get Jake to see what he thinks. On the rear, again, we need to get the car up and we need to put it on a firmer setting for him. Front of the car, I've got this GT4 splitter. This is from Aston Martin. It's a GT4 canards. Obviously the lightweight bonnet. So this was more, I suppose it is a fast road Sunday driver track day special. And it'll be really interesting just to see how he gets on. Tyres are different. So we've got some 19-inch lightweight tyres. They're the original tyres from the Vantage. Smaller front end. I think they're a 245. These are a 255. Sorry about the noise, but it's just a bit crazy here. These are forged. These are the lightweights from Aston. I don't know the exact figures on how much lighter they are, but they won't be as light as the forged. And then we've got a bigger rear tyre. We've kept these as sort of a spare for today, just in case if we get a puncture, something happens, we can run. And these are on Continental 7s, which in a lot of the tyre reports have been better than the Michelin, but I do like the Michelin. So yeah, we've got a spare set of Continentals. I've also got the original Vantage V12 rims here, which I've just had refurbed, and they've got some Pirelli tyres on. We may use them, we may not. I was thinking of using these more for this like Dakar special we're thinking about. So yeah, I've got lots of stuff here today. And then these are Flowform Apex. So I love the design on these, but obviously they're not quite as lightweight as the forged. But I did find on the road, these seem to drive with a lot more comfort than the forged. So I'm looking forward to swapping these round and giving them a try. Right guys, thanks for coming today.
No problem.
I've been so excited to get out, but we've got to go through, say I'm a novice coming here today, and obviously for me, I get a little bit worried about going out there. We spoke a bit earlier about the wheels talking, the tyre pressures. Is there anything else I should be thinking about on track, especially around obviously brakes, that type of thing?
I mean, initially, before you attend a track day, you should give your car a semi-nut and bolt check just to make sure it's safe. Because, you don't want the worst thing happening out there. There's a lot riding on it, so you've got to be careful.
A bit like what you've done with the Astons, really, because you've had this car in, so it's
through the workshop. They've had a nut and bolt check.
And would brake pads, would you need to have sort of 3/4 life? How much would you go through a pad today?
I would probably say 3/4 just
3/4,
to be safe.
okay.
Again, you don't want to be caught short. Your day gets cut early because your brake pads run out low, and there's no point. So if you're unsure, take it to a garage and get it checked over prior to you doing a track day, regardless. If you're not very mechanically minded, because not everyone is.
And if I was going out now, just say in this car, am I best just taking it easy for the first few laps? Because obviously a lot of people are going to go out, they're going to go flying. Like you said, hold off today, let's not go out. Let's let everyone have their bit, maybe spin off somewhere.
I find it's always good to do the sighting laps. For some track days they're optional, so
which is what you've just done, haven't you?
And for some track days they're mandatory. So obviously we've done it today. It's my first time driving the Aston, so I've just done a couple of laps. Make sure I've got good brakes. Everything feels okay on those slow laps there. But it also gives you a good sort of visual of the circuit. What conditions the circuit in? Is it damp? Is it dry? What we got, so it gives you a bit of an idea as to what conditions you're about to go driving in, and you're doing it at a much reduced speed. So that's always handy to always go and do those sighting laps, just so you know what you've got. And then once the day goes live, it normally goes live around 9:15, 15 minutes after 9, and typically we always say, let everyone go out and
which we're doing now.
Because let them get the rid mist out of the way.
Exactly. A lot of people doing track days, they don't maybe go on track that often, and therefore when the track goes live, they're like, let's go. Everyone does. We're all the same. But sometimes it's best just to give it 10-15 minutes, let everyone go and sort of get it out of their system, because people can drive a bit erratically and a bit out of control. Sometimes there's some red flags if people have gone off. So first 15 minutes, just let it go. You've got all day, and then start to go out.
With the track like today, have we got sort of perfect conditions for brands? I mean, it's quite cold in here, but it's probably 8 degrees,
so.
10.
I mean, I would say so. I think the track conditions are perfect. It's a fresh day, but it's dry. There's not any hint of rain around, which is nice. Typically, cars are always faster when the air temp is cold, so you're less likely to cook brakes if that's the situation, and overheat tyres. So it's not a bad thing if the temperature's cold. As long as the track's dry, then that's prime conditions.
So one question from me would be, say you're taking this car out in a minute, how many laps would you do in a road car before you come back in? Because obviously you're on road road brakes, road tyres, before you start thinking, well, I've damaged the car too much.
I mean, on a personal level, I don't know if Jake would be different. I'd probably do about 2 or 3 laps, just 50% pace, just to get the car warm, get the brakes warm, get the tyres warm. Because although, as Jake said, the track temperatures are perfect, you're going to have really cold tyres, really cold brakes. A little bit more steady going into certain corners and whatnot. So just 2 or 3 laps, come in, give the car just another quick
So you'd
check
come in
over.
after that? I thought you'd say 2 or 3 laps,
No,
then
that's
go.
That's what I'd say personally.
Okay, yeah.
Just to
Right,
give the
okay,
wheels
yeah.
another click.
Yeah.
And then you know you're safe.
And would you check your pressures on your tyres as well,
Yeah.
like you said?
Yeah, I mean, you know, we've adjusted the tyre pressures, obviously, cold pressures, so they're a lot lower than you'd typically run on the road, but that's because you know you're going to be driving quite hard and the pressures are going to come up. You know, a lot of the race tyres we use are actually filled with nitrogen because it's a more controllable air.
Wasn't that in the Skylines or something first of all, R35?
I think it was, I think it was to be fitted as standard with nitrogen, so it's a much more controllable you know, substance to keep the tyre stable really. So air is a bit more erratic and therefore it climbs temperature quite a lot. So if you have just normal air in your tyres, no problem with that, but you just got to keep on top of it because temperatures can climb and decline really quickly. So it's just a case of just keeping on top of it. You know, like Alex said, a good sort of round Brands Indy, 2 to 4 laps I would say, get everything warm, come in, quick bleed of the pressures, quick click of the old wheel nuts again, and let's go.
How long would you then go out for? So say I've done that, I've come in, I'm happy, I'm going to go again. It's a road car again. Is it 4 laps, 5 laps? How many laps would you say?
I wouldn't normally go on laps. I'd normally do about a 10 or 15 minutes stint.
Okay, so
and especially being more again, if you're a novice, you might do only 10 minutes because it can be daunting. So I do understand. So you do 10 minutes and then come back, just calm down, you know, have a cup of tea. So, but again, if you're in a race car, then you could do probably half hour, 45 minutes stints if you need to. But
correct. I think it's all about how much you know your car, you understand your car. You know, if we're talking about your first day, absolutely go out once you've checked everything. You know, got it warm for 4 laps. Go out and then do a 10-minute run. You know, just keep it in 10-minute intervals. Go out 10 minutes, especially around here. That's still like 7-8 laps. It's a little, it's a little while. If it feels good, then for sure you keep going a little bit more, even to 15 minutes. But I would typically not go past 15 minutes, especially if it's your first couple of days, simply because you're lapsing concentration. You don't have the headspace to
so you
figure
need to
out,
keep hydrated. That would be something,
you don't have the headspace to figure out other things. Like you're so focused on just driving, and you're unaware of everything else. You know, your temperatures. So how does the car feel in yellow flags, red flags? You know, what other cars? What's going on? You know, do short stints so that your mind's more focused. If you do long stints, you get tired, you're unaware, and therefore you're potentially dangerous.
Well, me and Dean found it quite daunting when we come out last time. I mean, last time I'd done a track day here was a long time ago. Well, he was more nervous than running in the World Championships because you're going out and you've got a lot of people around you. And we found it, once we got going we were fine, but I felt like I was looking out for people more than probably I was driving because I was worried I was almost in the way. You get that feeling that everyone's looking at you. And trying to get rid of that really. Once you've done a few, you probably get that confidence, don't you?
Exactly, and you know, again, it's just judging what other cars are on the track day with you. Sometimes you're lucky and, you know, there's some relatively slow cars on the track day, especially if it's your first couple of days. But likewise, if you get up to speed, then you want some quicker cars around you, so you're not being held up all the time. You know, so it swings and roundabouts really. But today we're quite lucky. We've got a good mix of like Clio 172, 182s, track cars that are really quick. We've got some old stuff. We've got some radicals. So there's lots of different cars
really
here.
Cool stuff.
Some normal track cars that we're so used to seeing. So. I feel like it's going to be a good day and we're not going to get held up too much.
Brilliant. So what we're going to do now is put Jake out in the V12. This KW3 is set up all in the middle. So middle damper rating on the back, middle on the front. He's going to go out and do it as if it's a novice track day. Like for me, going out, do a couple of laps, come back in, test the pressures, and then take it out for some faster laps and give us his opinion. This is the best part of the day, really, is seeing. There's Alex in the GTR. Where's Jake? Here he comes. Listen to this. Come on, Mr. That sound mean, doesn't it? And that is the best part of the day. Listen to this V12. I don't know if they're coming in actually. Oh, my back. Right, got to come along soon. Come on. Come on, Mr. V12. Here we go. Here's Alex. Here we go. Come on, Jake. Where are you? Here he is. Slowing it down as we come in now. So we can see him come in. They'll probably check all the tyre pressures. Yeah, just having a nice cup of tea.
So just in those like 4 or 5 laps there, you know, we've gone up another 5.5 psi.
Really?
So it's a big chunk. It's a big chunk.
How long would it take that to drop back down?
Probably about, I'd say about an hour and a half.
Oh, that long.
You know, just because the tyre's quite hot.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. So.
And you've got to remember, it's not just the tyre temp itself, it's the rim temperature. A lot of the temperature and pressure comes from the brakes, through the hubs, through the wheels, and into the... you know, you touch the wheel, and the wheel's hotter than the tyre. So that's why a lot of the pressure, you know, a lot of the pressure stays.
So say I was doing that myself, and it had gone, could it go up 10?
It could. If I kept going, if I started drifting up, they'd really go up.
Right. And when would you think it's knocking? Like 10 up or?
I mean, if you do 10 up, the tyre's ballooning. It's a real big problem, you know.
So at the moment,
like 5 is manageable, you know, but really anything over 5, you're going to start not only feeling really bad to drive, but also you're going to end up hurting the tyre. Because it's going to start ballooning and stressing the tyre.
When I drive home, it's going to be good.
It's going to be awful. Yeah. Eventually it'll be awful. So, you know, if we manage the pressure, not only does it extend tyre life, but obviously it gets cool.
Right, so Jake's going to go round now, do all the tyres, and then hopefully you'll be able to push this car to the limit.
How bad is it, Alex?
Alex, I can't believe it.
4 laps done, I've loaded it already.
So we're down to 2.
Never mind.
Oh, Jake's just coming in. Let's walk around.
Let's go and check the car quick.
I love this GTR though. How'd it go?
Yeah, that was good, Richard.
Yeah?
It was a little bit better than I expected. I think.
Yeah? Still feel very heavy on the front. And
It is.
yeah.
Those pressures were a big help, though.
Were they? Okay. Tyres don't look too bad, considering.
All right. I mean, this side's going to get way less hurt because,
Yeah.
like I say, we're on the right hand.
So the other side.
Yeah, the other side's going to be the one.
Oh yeah, see a bit more there. It's not too bad though for a road tyre, is it?
No, do you know what? They're holding up pretty good. If you come to the front,
Yeah.
this just shows just how much weight is on the front of the car. You can see how much more graining you've got on the edge of the tyre compared to the rear. So it definitely shows that those pressures being a bit higher are a must because the front of the car is so much heavier.
You'd just ruin it otherwise.
Yeah, so we're going to need to just do a little bit of tweaking front to rear. I'm going to maybe lower the rear ride height slightly.
Yeah.
And just try and gain a bit more weight over the rear of the car. But yeah, I'm pretty impressed with it, to be fair. It's not a bad thing, it just needs a bit of love, a bit of tweaking, find its happy place. But it's all right. The thing I'm most impressed with is the running gear, the engine, gearbox. The
Gearbox is quite nice, isn't it?
Yeah, gearbox is smooth, the engine is smooth, but also it's got quite a good go. So, you know, it does feel quite punchy, which is always nice. And you know, I've got no real traction issues at the rear. It feels quite nice and stable. You can just feel like everything's over the front. You know?
Yeah.
So that's the only problem with it. It's not a massively well balanced car, which is why we're going to try and do some stuff to help it.
Yeah.
But it, you know, it's a pleasant thing to drive.
Yeah. Well, that's why I think it's a bit more of a tourer. That's why I'm really interested to get you in the V8. I want to get you in the V8, like.
No, for sure.
So,
but, I mean, it's good just to do the base work.
Yeah,
and
and
get a rough idea of where everything wants to be, and then move to the
go
V8.
from there.
Yeah.
How are they looking?
Yeah, good. They've only crept up a little bit, so I'm pretty pleased with that. To be fair, I'm going to go slight pressure adjust. We're going to go 31 at the rear. We'll just see what the fronts are coming in at. See how much they've crept up by. Pretty happy, really. You know, that time they've only risen like a PSI and a half. So my initial guess was pretty good. You know, I'm pretty happy with that. So yeah, we got 34 there at the front, so come back down a little bit. Go back to 32. There we go. I'm pretty happy with 32 at the rear, but we'll just leave the rears a little bit higher, 31, so only a 1 PSI split. I think that's going to be pretty good.
Good. It's really nice actually, Jake's attention and care to the car all the time. It's quite interesting. He's on it, boom, all the time. As soon as he comes in, right, pressures, boom, next thing. It's really interesting. Right, so the plan is stiffen the front.
A little bit stiffer, yeah, we're going to just stiffen it up a little bit more, try and get a bit more support in the front of the car. It's just, you know, look at the size of it.
Yeah.
It's massive, and the problem is all that weight over the front axle, you know, you're going to need to tweak it a bit.
Yeah.
So that's all we're doing.
So the rear you're quite happy?
Really, I'm genuinely quite surprised. Most Astons I've driven on track quite honestly have been pretty terrible.
Yeah.
And you know, this is definitely a step forward for sure. So I'm looking forward to this, but obviously I'm looking forward to driving
The proper one,
the
yeah.
V8 in a bit. So yeah, but it's a good start. You know, we're just going to do a bit of damper tweaking and have another go.
It'd be interesting how many clicks it is to get it. Because it's funny that they're all different, isn't it, on the dampers? Like you don't get 20 clicks. It seems to be different every type of damper.
Set of dampers is different, 100%.
How many clicks have we got?
How many we got?
We've got 16 on the top, mate. 20 on top.
too bad. Not straight.
So what was it on, about 10?
Yeah, it was smack bang in the middle. So there's 20 clicks on these dampers between soft and hard on full stiff. Yeah. So we're going to go halfway. We're going to 5 from full stiff now, so 15 from full soft. So it's a lot more stiffer.
Yeah.
And from my experience, 5 clicks is quite a jump.
Is a lot, okay.
Yeah, normally it's quite a jump. So yeah, we're just going to try the next step. Hopefully that just gives it a bit more support, especially in the compressions here at Brands, and then go from there.
So it could even be a good road setting as well, because the front didn't feel too stiff anyway.
It could be. You'd have to drive it on the road and see how you get on.
Right, how'd it go? You had it stiffer on the front?
Yeah.
Better?
Yeah, we put a little bit of rebound in the front, a bit more stable, definitely feels a bit nicer to me, but now when you put a bit of rebound in, it also ties the front down a bit, so when you turn into the corner it keeps the front from popping up. So rebound, the more rebound you have, stops the front from popping up. Yeah. So it, in general makes it a bit more stable, but it can, if the rear's a bit loose, it can make the rear worse.
Would that make it bumpier on the road or not, or just more firmer? It'd be interesting to see when I take it back.
It can make it more firm on the road. It can do, but to me it just felt a little bit soft to begin with.
Yeah.
So
it did feel soft to me on there.
Yeah. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take some rear ride height out of the car.
Yeah.
So we're going to make the car. It's what we call rake. Okay.
Yeah.
So the more rake you have in the car is when the rear is up and the front is down, and it can make the rear feel quite wallowy.
That's how it feels.
In the corner. So like the rear sort of floating around a bit. So by levelling out the car, bring some of the weight back to the rear in cornering, and that should make the car feel a little bit more calmer at the rear, a bit more intact to the front, and then I think we're in a really good place.
So how far are you going to go down? Let's have a look at what Alex is doing here.
Every damper has a different thread, I would say, on the spring platform. So it's just a case of being able to turn that spring platform as Alex is doing now. So we're going to take 2 turns of ride height out of the rear, which should equate to like roughly 8 to 10 mil of ride height. So it will be slightly noticeable.
I think it'll look better, because it did seem a bit high, didn't it?
Yeah, it will look similar to the front now, which is always aesthetically pleasing. But more importantly, from my side, it should make it feel a lot nicer to drive, and from your side as well. So that's the plan. Luckily, we've got main man Alex on hand to get it all done.
How do the brakes feel? These are ceramics, so it'd be interesting when you go.
Feel really good.
Yeah, do they?
Yeah, they do. They feel really good. They come up to temperature nicely. There's no real fade. So yeah, I must say that most ceramics now on most sports and supercars, they're pretty good.
This is quite an old car now.
For
sort
sure.
of 15 years old.
Yeah, for sure.
We had a long run as a model, sort of 2005 to 18.
Yeah, for
so
sure.
13-year run.
No, but I mean, I must say, it feels pretty decent. The braking feels good. Gearbox, engine feels great, and the chassis is not bad. We just need to make a bit of tweaks. Ultimately,
this could make a big difference though, because I found that on the road, it's like it's moving around.
Yeah, it just doesn't feel quite as tied down as the front. So we're going to, hopefully having this adjustment now will make a bit of a difference.
It looks a bit better already, and they're just being that bit lower.
It will settle. When the car's been in the air, it always looks a bit higher. So give me another run, bit of use, and the whole car will settle slightly. It will look a lot nicer. It will be more similar look-wise now to the V8.
Yeah, no, that's great. Can't wait.
Yeah.
Okay.
On we go. On to the next change.
Cheers. So we're on to the main event now, the V8S. So Alex is giving the car a check over. So on the front suspension, we've now stiffened it full firm this.
Yep, we're on maximum
And on the
stiffness.
rear, we haven't gone full firm this yet. We're going to
No.
let Jake drive it and then put it back. You had a problem in here as well, didn't you? But we'll have to look at that just a little
Yep.
bit with the thread. So what was you doing here? Just oil?
So basically check the levels, make sure it's all good for the circuit. Just give it a quick once over visually. Make sure there's no leaks underneath or belts perishing. Because again, we don't want anything going wrong while we're out of the circuit. We'd rather catch it now. And then it's ready to go. We do have a revised issue that we know about with the power steering.
Yeah, was it
Just gets a bit
hot.
overboils and spits, so we just need to come up with a plan for that, and we'll be good as gold.
No, I'm really looking forward to this. Jake's just putting all his cameras in now for his channel. There'll be a video on that as well. All the driving inside footage he's going to do on his channel, which would be great. He does a great job with that. You've got to subscribe and follow him. He's got this touring car videos that are amazing. There's a Honda, 58,000 views already, and the engine is amazing here. The rear wing, I really like it. I don't mind either with or without, but round here, I think Jake will feel the difference in having a wing, and I'm interested in his feedback in that as well. I feel this is more like a race car. It's got different seats as well, so it's going to be interesting. Really happy.
26 front, yeah, all round. No, hang on. 26 rear, 27 front. Look, yeah, wrong way round. Oh, it's red flag anyway. So.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to try that on that one, having more pressure in the front.
Yeah, obviously when you go to drive, we're going to need to pump them all back up because they're going to. Now we're not going to drive it on track.
Yeah,
they're going to drop to like the low to mid 20s, which is too low. So.
But that goes to about 20.
Yeah, we'll go to about 20.
Really low.
Yeah, really low.
Will they? Okay.
But I've got a pump anyway.
Well, we can reset those after lunch.
Right.
To the road pressures and then you'll be fine.
Right.
You've got to let them come down first.
Right. Let's go.
There you go. On to the next car. Looking forward to this.
This is really, really good, I think you're going to really feel the difference in the front end. Obviously, it's a bit lighter. The V8. So, yeah, no, I'm excited. Better seats
That's it. Better
as
seats.
well.
The seats, will
The
make a big
seats,
difference.
massive difference in
Yeah.
there. I think you
Right,
really feel
I'm
that.
gonna go
All right.
get my eye in, get everything up to temperature.
Yeah.
Same as I did with the V12. Come in, set the pressures,
Yeah.
and then we'll start doing some work with it.
Brilliant.
Let's go.
Go. Let's go, go, go. And this is what it's all about, really, for me. I love seeing other people driving the car. It's the best feeling, especially with Jake being a fantastic driver here. He's here in 2 weeks' time for the British Touring Car. He's won round here in British Touring Cars. It's really like his home circuit, so it's going to be very interesting. He's going to go out, we're going to come back, we're going to change the rear setting on the suspension. And yeah, see what he thinks. Here he goes. Come with me, Sam. Come on. Right, so Jake's out and he's just warming up the car. So we're trying to look through this gap in the hedge, or fence is probably a better word. So here he comes, and he's just warming up the car now, and then he's going to come in. Bloody hell. That sounds really good. That looked better. You enjoyed that, didn't you? You were going past cars like crazy.
That's lovely.
Yeah.
But this is way better.
You're way better.
Yeah. So much more balanced. The engine's lovely. And the weight distribution more than anything is much better.
It looked like you got so much mechanical grip.
A lot
as
more.
well, yeah.
You're able to just carry a lot more speed. It feels a lot more Porsche-esque, you know, to be honest. So it is just a case of, yeah, you know, just being able to attack a lot more,
yeah,
which is always helpful. So yeah, for sure, enjoyed that a lot more than the V12. Sorry, but yeah, it's the truth.
So what we're going to do on the rear, because this is still on a soft, or is it okay?
I think it's really good. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Right.
I really like it. I'm going to adjust the pressures now. Obviously, I've just done like 5 or 6 laps.
Yeah.
So you can have a little pressure adjust, figure out where we want that to go, and then.
Well, that's good, because then I don't have to adjust it for the road then. So.
Yeah, which would be cool. But no, it genuinely feels really nice. So it's tenfold better than the V12.
And it's nice as well because the front. If the rear's good on that, that's good on the road. So then, you know, people could just adjust it on the front to what they want, because this is on the stiffest now.
Yeah, okay.
And obviously you can just wind it yourself to where you want.
Yeah, for sure.
Like if I was going on a long journey, I would just obviously soften it off myself.
Yeah.
But then if I want to go for a real Sunday drive, I just wind it up.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's nice, you know. Yeah, like I say, a little pressure adjust. Alex is on it now, and we're going to see where we are again. But for sure, it's a much better platform than the V12. What was it?
32.5.
That's not too bad.
What do you want, 30, 31? 30.
Leave that as it is, 31. Go 32 front. Let's try that. It is way better, isn't it? Yeah,
Night and day.
like a lot.
Okay.
We've only just had lunch, remember?
We have just had lunch.
I'll get
Feeling
sick
a bit
looking at the
heavy.
sea, let alone being in a car.
Now this is your first time with me.
I know. I must say, I'm not too worried. Just I don't even like being a passenger on the road.
We'll start off slow and build it up.
So you're going to turn everything off?
Yeah, it's just because otherwise it just holds you back a bit.
I've never been a passenger in this car.
Have you not?
No.
No, I mean, it's not often.
It'd be interesting to feel it.
It's not often you're passenger in your own car,
know,
is it?
yeah.
You know, so right. Put that one on. Okay, we're off.
We are off.
Let's go.
Exciting.
Let's see how we get on.
So smooth, this engine.
It is. It makes such a good noise.
Yeah.
So let's have a good look at our mirrors. Make sure we're clear. We've got one car coming. There he goes. So we'll just warm it up gently. Get a bit of heat back through it.
So what do you think about, say this was my first track day, you're obviously looking a lot for cars behind you, but you're just trying to warm the car now.
You are, yeah, it's all about that warm-up process. You've got to be observant. Like, we got a couple of guys coming, you know, you just got to indicate to the right, let them go. There we go, got one guy coming through now. You know, just let them have their fun.
Yeah.
Ultimately, if you're kind to them, they'll be kind to you.
Yeah.
You know, so it's a win-win situation. But for those first couple of laps, we just warm it up. Always keep looking in your mirrors, make sure you're clear. But at the same time, you need to know where you're going. You know, so you know, I'm lucky enough that I've done 1 or 2 laps around here before. So
I'm just trying to remember the sim.
Yeah.
So it's trying to think out, since I'm so many laps on the sim of this circuit, and trying to get that feeling of what I find different is obviously the feeling of compression that you don't get on a sim.
And that's what the sim can't replicate.
Yeah.
You know, is just that feeling of what those compressions are like. and then we just start to just build it up, get a little bit quicker each time. So now I'm just going to start to warm it up a bit. Just start to feel those compressions.
Yeah.
So we just start to generate a bit of brake temperature.
It feels fantastic, actually.
Yeah, it's alright.
Really good.
We're not going anywhere yet.
Oh, I know. Yeah, but just the feel of the car.
It's a very stable platform.
Very stable.
Yeah, we just start to go a little bit quicker each corner. Just build it up. Just gonna have a little lift for the sensor there,
Yeah.
and then off we go. So we're on the brakes, down 1 gear.
Yep.
Alright, then we just roll it in, carry some nice speed into the compression. There we go. And brake, down 1/3.
I love how smooth you are and how the car is doing the work, you know.
So we're just going to take a bit of speed out of it, just so we don't
This
compress
bump,
too
yeah.
much.
Well, I've been eating a lot of cake, Jake, apparently, on one of the
Yeah.
circuits. It's interesting you're third here,
Yeah, third gear for here.
just because you've got a bit of torque in the engine as well.
That's
to
it,
pull
it just
through,
pulls
yeah.
it out, you know,
Yeah.
off we go.
Yeah. Tell you what, you're the best chauffeur in the world. So guys, we've done the V12. I've just gone out with Jake in the V8, the CTR V8S. Love that, Jake.
What do you think? Do you enjoy it?
Really enjoyed it. I love it. It's so flat and you're so smooth.
Yeah.
And I know you could go a lot more than that. I know we had still just grounding out a little bit.
Yeah, well, you know, Paddock Hill Bend here at Brands Hatch is one of the biggest compressions, if not the biggest compression at any racing circuit in the UK. Okay. You know, it's pretty violent to cars, and you know, if they're not quite stiff enough, or if the ride height's not quite right, I think for us, we're probably, because it's a compromise car between the road and the track, we're not stiff enough. You know,
Would you have a stiffer spring?
Yeah, a stiffer spring, or you'd wind the bump damping up quite a lot just to allow it not to compress quite as much.
Right. Okay.
That would be the way to solve it, but you know, as it stands, I mean, we've changed hardly nothing from the road to the track, and the car feels fantastic. You know, so it really is, to be honest, a big leap forward over the V12.
Yeah.
But no, I'm glad you enjoyed me taking you out, and I'm sure there'll be many more times.
So I think your feeling was a lot of the upgrades have made a huge difference, especially like the gear lever, pedals, 100 kilograms of weight out the car.
Yeah, the seat.
Oh yeah, the
know,
seats make a massive difference.
Yeah, from a
mate,
drivability point of view,
Yeah.
the seats, the gear lever, pedals, it's all a lot more where you want it to be. A lot more in touch, a lot more nicer to use. You know, the chassis and the engine speak for itself, being in a much lighter, much better place with the engine. So
what about engines then? So the V12, I found it's more torquey, it's not as noisy as this, but this still feels very smooth in the V8, doesn't it?
I'm genuinely shocked how smooth they both feel, to be fair. I mean, the V12, of course, renowned for its smooth driving and the feel that you get from a V12, but the V8, little less power, but just as nice to use. And to be honest, it sounds better.
Yeah, you think it sounds better?
I think
Yeah,
it
it does
sounds
sound
better.
good, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest. You got the B-Road Blaster, or you got the GT Cruiser.
Yeah, and that's why that's going to be more of a touring version.
That's basically what they are. So the fact that, you know, the V8 just sounds so much better.
Yeah.
And the reason for today was to get these sort of track settings, but I'm going to take it onto the road and just see if it works as well. I know we stiffened up the back of the car, actually we lowered the back of the car
Lowered
as well.
the back, yeah.
It
And then
might make it work perfect on the road anyway.
it might be, because I said it was moving around a bit, yeah. No, great. Well, thanks for your time today. Thanks,
Thank
Alex.
you, Rich.
Sorry
No,
about your Skyline. I know,
These things
yeah.
happen.
New diff.
Yeah.
Then you'll be back on the road.
Exactly.
We'll be back, full attack.
Oh, yeah.
And you're here in 2 weeks' time, and I'll be here as well.
I'll be
yeah,
here
so
in 2 weeks' time for the second round of the British Touring Car Championship, and you're going to come and join me,
Yep.
see what it's all about. Not in the car this time,
No,
though.
no.
Sorry, mate.
bit
but-
too heavy, I think.
Yeah,
for you.
maybe. But, you know, yeah, we're here for the second round,
Yeah.
so can't wait to get to see you there.
And you do hospitality as well, don't you, for that? So people can
Yeah,
have
it is
hospitality
possible,
for
you know,
touring
it's
cars.
possible to partner
Yeah.
up with us for a certain event.
Yeah.
We do offer it, so yeah, by all means, get in touch.
No, great. Well, I've really, really enjoyed today, and it's, you know, a dream of mine to have this Aston Vantage, turn it into something that's much better on the road, but also can be used on the track. So a big thank you to Alex and Jake today for being with me, and I'll see you again soon.